my heart away. Let it fly to somewhere far from here, through the crowds and through the hills of my dreams. Let this heart drift off to where it needs to be. Take this heart and let us soar across the sky, to the farthest sea so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. Take this heart and let us soar across the sky, to the farthest sea so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. You're still in my heart. Please let the wind take my heart away. Let it fly to somewhere far from here, through the crowds and through the hills of my dreams. Let this heart drift off to where it needs to be. Take this heart and let us soar across the sky, to the farthest sea so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. Take this heart and let us soar across the sky, to the farthest sea so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. You're still in my heart. Please let the wind take my heart away. Let it fly to somewhere far from here, through the crowds and through the hills of my dreams. Let this heart drift off to where it needs to be. Take this heart and let us soar across the sky, to the farthest sea so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. Take this heart and let us soar across the sky, to the farthest sea so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. You're still in my heart. Take this heart and let us soar across the sky, to the farthest sea so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. please let the wind take my heart away. Let it fly to somewhere far from here. Through the crowds and through the hills in my dreams. Let this heart drift off to where it needs to be. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky to the farthest seas so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky to the farthest seas so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. You're still in my heart. Oh, please let the wind take my heart away. Let it fly to somewhere far from here. Through the crowds and through the hills in my dreams. Let this heart drift off to where it needs to be. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky to the farthest seas so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky to the farthest seas so it will go. Even if we are apart, you'll still be in my heart to keep you safe and sound through the night. You're still in my heart. Oh, please let the wind take my heart away. Let it fly to somewhere far from here. Through the crowds and through the hills in my dreams. Let this heart drift off to where it needs to be. Take this heart and let it soar across the sky.
I see new horizons are opening up, new feelings. I feel great in every moment. When I see the world around me, it makes me feel
Open to the new shades. Amazing Thailand.
สวัสดีค่ะ Good afternoon everyone. Welcome back to TAT webinar which officially organized by Tourism Authority of Thailand. And today's topic is the recovery plan out of Swiss market, B2B and B2C. First of all, please allow me to introduce myself. I am Panupan Jantarabanya, a marketing officer at Europe, Africa and Middle East Market Division at Tourism Authority of Thailand Head Office. And I will be your host throughout during this session. Before we are going to meet up with our today's speaker, please allow me to introduce you briefly about how to join this TAT webinar smoothly and efficiently. During the session, If you would like to communicate with our admin team or let us know any assistance you may require, please type your message at the chat box, which located on the right of the screen. By the way, if you have a question you would like to ask about the topic, please go to Q&A section, which located on the left of the screen. However, if you find your question is already there, just click vote to support the question you would like to ask. This is to make sure that your question will get the priority to be answered. The presentation of today's topic is also available to download at the below link of the screen. You can just click and download it. Before you leave this webinar session, please submit your comments at the questionnaire section, which located near the Q&A section. Your comment will be very useful for TAT and important to us to improve our project in the near future. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our today's speaker, Mr. Gary Gretz, the marketing representative of the Switzerland market, who has been joining with TAT and Thailand for 20 years. สวัสดีค่ะคุณเกเร Good to
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
สวัสดีค่ะ Today, Kun Gere will share some interesting information about the latest update situation of COVID-19 in the Switzerland country and how are the people at the moment. And then he will share some in-depth data from the survey that he has been done with the top 4 tour operators in the Switzerland market. And at the end of his presentation, he will share us what TAT is preparing for Thailand tourism industry for post-COVID-19. Kungere, are you ready?
Yes, of course. Thank you very much.
Okay, I will give this floor to you. Please enjoy and take your time.
Thank you so much. So we start right away with my presentation. From a short overview about the Corona update in Switzerland. How was Switzerland, in fact, as well concerned by the coronavirus? This is the first step in order to understand the situation in our country. We have as well been closed down since the end of March. In fact, we have been badly infected by the coronavirus, all our industries, and now we have per day approximately 10 new infections. That means that the country is again relaxing and reopening, and this starts already with in this week on the 6th of June. Most of the infrastructure is going to be open. Then as of the 8th of June, it's again possible to have private and public meetings up to 300 people. So we go back in more or less a normal phase, but always respecting the safety measures against Corona. On the 6th of July, this was released last week by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Switzerland. By the 6th of July, the borders within Europe are again open. The Swiss can travel within Europe, unlimited again. And this is the first step, of course, as well for then on a later stage to do the same for other continents. The Swiss economy was badly hurt by the coronavirus, so the government did a recovery program and invested more or less 60 billion Swiss francs in order to support the Swiss economy. And this helped a lot. What we can see already now, that this was a very good move from the government, and there are not so many industries hurt as originally expected. We have an unemployment rate of 2.3% in the market, which is for our market quite high, but in comparison with other destinations and other countries, it's quite small. Nevertheless, we expect some bankruptcies of travel agencies because they have had no business at all for the last 2 months. So it's quite expected that the independent travel agencies will suffer quite badly from coronavirus. The travel agencies which belong to a big tour operator, they of course have other supports, but the independent travel agencies and tour operators, they will suffer. So we expect here some bankruptcies. All the tour operators, the big tour operators, have cancelled their programs in Switzerland until the mid of June. As of the mid of June, travel is again for some destinations possible, but very limited. In Switzerland, it's not a problem anymore. So it is, in fact, the reopening will give a positive sign to the travel industry as well. The machinery and electronic industry has had 8.4% drop, which is in fact little than it was expected. No influence whatsoever had pharmaceutical chemical industries and the finance and insurance industries and the public employees. For Switzerland, this is quite important because pharmaceutical and finance are two of the most important industries of Switzerland, and a lot of jobs and a lot of income of the people are bound to these two industries. We have done, in order to understand the situation of the tour operators, a survey among the biggest Swiss tour operators for Thailand in our market. Some of you, they know, of course, all of these four persons which we have on the presentation. Hoteplan, Christoph Infanger, Hoteplan and Travel House is the same group. Then we have Asia 365, Ruth Landolt. Asia 365 belongs to Kuoni, their tour. And then we have FTI Group, Gunnel Buri, which is in charge of Switzerland, but as well for Austria and Germany. And Stefan Römer from Tourasia, which is for many years a specialized tour operator for the whole of Asia, but especially as well Thailand. With this for tour operators, Thailand has an important market share, or the biggest market share even. So we wanted to understand what is the situation, how they see the situation in our market for Thailand. We go over to question number 1. What impact does the corona eruption have on your company and in particular on your Thailand department? So Stefan Römer told us that all, of course, as well as the big tour operators, he cancelled all the trips until mid of June, but he has still a lot of bookings in his books for July and August, and he is waiting a clear announcement from the Thai government in order to announce or to tell to his customers what to do, if they should postpone and maybe travel later. But at the time being, it's an impressive figure of 45% in comparison to last year, which he still is holding for summer 2020. Ruth Landolt has seen fantastic 2 years. Asia 365, Kuoni was back massively in our market. They had done fantastic business and a good visibility in the market, so they grew quite nicely during the last 2 years, and unfortunately, the coronavirus have led to a zero situation with them. They lost a lot of bookings, but for them, of course, it's not a nice situation. We go to the two others, to Kunal Buri of FTI. So they are driving on site, what she told us. It is not predictable at the time what's going to happen. However, they are ready to push the button for the marketing activities, which they always did quite aggressively in the Swiss market. They are well known for this, and could as well have some good business in the last years. So they wait more or less on the same reaction than Stefan Römer on the government to make clear statements when it comes to the Swiss market. Christoph Infanger, Hotelplan, is in a good solution or in a good situation. As you may know, they belong to the Migros Group, which is a huge company in Switzerland, so they have no problem at all with liquidity, or they have a very good business case. It means that their 100 branch offices are as well supported by this big group. Nevertheless, the situation with Thailand is dramatic for them as well. But here it is clear that we don't have to fear that there is money lost with the Hotelplan Group. They are in a very good situation in Switzerland. They are the number one for Switzerland. So it's quite interesting to see what they're going to say on the next questions. We go to question number 2. Do we have still bookings, or what is the situation now with summer and autumn and even winter? Because this is now after the conference of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs last week, what is going to happen? Stefan Römer told us that he still have around 30% for the autumn months recorded in comparison to the previous years, but that winter is not yet booked, but he receives new bookings for autumn. Ruth Landolt is having occasional bookings for autumn and winter, but their tour group already opened the bookings until October 2021. So with their tour group, the whole program of Thailand can be booked until next year in October already. That means that the whole catalog was taken and is possible to be booked until next year. Kunal Buri are registering incoming bookings from time to time on the longer term, so autumn and winter. And Christoph Imbanger, Hotelplan, has the same situation. They have some bookings for the autumn which are arriving, but of course the clear statement of the government would help in order to bring back more people to Thailand. We go to question number 3. Do you still produce a paper catalog? As you know, Switzerland is a traditional market. We still have paper catalogs, not only online. The products are available. This is quite specific in the Swiss market. So all of the big tour operators have a paper catalog, and we wanted to know, are they going to publish it? What is going to happen? So Stefan told us that his catalog for Eurasia is coming out next month in July 2020. Ruth Landolt is preparing. They are in the middle of the production for 2021. So they are preparing the catalog, but the online, everything is already 100% bookable until next year in October. Kunal Buri are in the planning stage as well, and they will decide in a few weeks what's going to happen. Whereas Hotel Plan has already confirmed a new catalog for August, beginning of September, and that they will, of course, produce a new catalog. We go to question number 4. What are the marketing activities they are doing at the moment for Thailand? Are there any campaigns going on? What are they doing? That was the question we wanted to understand. What are they doing for the B2B and for the B2C market? Stefan Röber is holding back at the moment the situation. So they are not doing a lot of activities and they wait until the country is open. But he is convinced that the people want to travel and they will travel, but he keeps the marketing activities on hold. Rootlandhold, on the other hand, they are doing fantastic media campaigns in the social media and online. So they are doing virtual trainings, they are doing presentations in the live stream, they're sending out newsletters to both B2C and B2B. So they stay very close to the customer and, of course, to their travel agencies. Kunal Buri told us that they are waiting, so they have more or less the same situation than Stefan. They wait until the country is opening in order to get bookings. And Christoph from Hoteplan have a similar approach than Asia 365. So they are doing a lot of emotional messages, dream now, travel later, where they showcase Thailand as a travel destination. They have a lot of blogs, they do interviews with specialists online, and they are doing destination reports, which is, of course, for us, a nice thing to see. We go to question number 5. The price levels. This is a very, very big question. Everybody is a bit worried what's going to happen with the prices. So Stefan Römer thinks that the prices will be stable after, in the beginning, of course, there will be some dynamic actions in order to fill up the hotels faster, but he thinks that in the longer run, the prices will be stable. Rootlandhold, the same, but she, of course, fears that there will be a flooding with attractive price offers coming out of the market. She's a bit afraid of this, but on the longer run, the prices will be stable again. Kunal Buri has an interesting argument. She says, well, for package tours, it's not yet clear what's going to happen in terms of the prices, because everything depends as well on the situation of the airlines. And this question mark gives her not the situation to see where are the costs going to. We go to question number 6. How does the market look like after Corona, after the crisis? So for Thailand, this depends a little bit on the destination itself. We have had in our market very good news about Thailand. So there was news how the situation is in Thailand, that we had the levels of infections. So the people have confidence into Thailand. They know that Thailand was not hardly taken by the coronavirus, that it was on a very limited level, and that the government has done very good precautions in order to save the population. So the people, if the destinations opens fast, the more business is coming back, thinks Stefan Römer, because what he says is people want to travel but need clear deadlines and entry conditions. Rootlandhold expects, on the other hand, a not as high demand than in the past. Kunal Buri says it will be different. Everything else is crystal ball reading. So we don't know exactly. There's not a clear statement. Christoph Infanger, on the other hand, say it's difficult to predict the extent of the consequences. But we think, all of the tour operators think that we will see a similar phenomenon than in the last crisis. Thailand always recovered quite fast after every crisis. And as we have now even the same situation with the corona, the people can clearly understand what's going on, where they have to be careful. So it will probably lead to the fact that bookings are coming back fast. We go to question number 7. Will there be more Thailand offers from these tour operators in our market? That was a question we had. Yes, Stefan Röhmen said to the same extent. He expects to keep the Thailand offer on the same level. Ruth Landolt would like to have this. She wishes that Thailand will be at the same level in offers. And Christoph Infanger from Hotaplan said they even are expanding the tours and modules in Thailand to have a bigger Thailand offer in the market from Hotaplan. We go to question number 8. Can we catch up with the effects? For instance, at the sea, will there be more beach holidays? Will the people come back? Stefan Döbel says that it depends when the government will open the country. At the moment, certain destinations gave clear commitments, like the Maldives, that they open up from the 1st of July, Sri Lanka from the 1st of August, the Philippines from the 1st of September. So he needs a clear commitment by the government in order to understand. And then, of course, it will give a compensation to the beach holidays, because the Swiss, of course, they want to travel and they want to have a nice beach holiday. Rutlandov thinks that it's quite possible that we will see this effect, that beach holidays will be the first to come back, to recover. Gunnar Bori that there as well confirms this, that there will be a backlog due month, that people want to travel again and want to go back to the beach in Thailand. And Christoph Imfanger thinks, yes, there will be to a certain extent, but he expects a complete recovery in 2021, 2022. We go to the next question. What is the situation with the airlines? I have spoken before about this. Swiss and Edelweiss received from the Swiss government $1.3 billion in aid for the coronavirus. And Switzerland was the first government to support the airline, which both belong to the Lufthansa Group. So this was done under the condition that they have to pay back the cancelled flight tickets to the travel agencies that they survive. So they did a very clever thing in my eyes, that they really supported the airlines, and with this they supported as well the travel industry, that they get back the money of cancelled tickets, which will help them a lot. The situation before the coronavirus looked like this. So we had daily flights to Bangkok with Swiss. We had daily flights with Thai to Bangkok. And we had 3 times a week during the from November to April, during the high season, we had non-stop flights from Zurich to Phuket with Edelweiss Air. Now, how does look the situation for the upcoming months? Swiss would like to fly as of July daily with a Boeing 777. They have planned even in the June timetable to fly once a week, but this, of course, depends on the permission of the Thai government. The airports are closed. So probably it will only be cargo flights, but they are still waiting on site how the situation develops. But as of 1st of July, they want to fly daily. On Friday, we received the information from Thai Airways that they will fly as of the 16th of July 3 times a week to Zurich with a Boeing 777. Of course, this depends on the actual situation and the recovery plan, which is now done in Thailand for Thai Airways. But from the operation management or department, it was said that Zurich will be again on the route network as of the 16th of July. And Edelweiss continues, like always. They expect flying again from November to April 3 times a week with to Phuket non-stop, which is a very successful flight for them. Then we have, of course, many other not non-stop airlines, but direct airlines flying to Asia. So Singapore Airlines is already flying to Zurich once or twice a week. Cathay Pacific is coming back, Korean Air as well. The Arabian carriers are still flying to Geneva and to Zurich with 2 or 3 flights a week. Turkish is expected to come back at the end of this month, and Oman Air is flying as well. So the situation in terms of airlines is getting better and improving from month on week to week. We go on the next page. So here are our conclusions. We expect a fast recovery out of the Swiss market for certainly for the winter period, and as well it depends when the country is going to be opened, even for late summer and autumn. 2021 will be again a normal travel year for Thailand, and we will have our target groups. Our marketing in this market is going towards best agers, dinks, repeaters, as they know the market and the Generation I. In our market, there were a lot of arguments. Are families traveling on the long haul this year? And many of the experts and many of the people said families will be very difficult. They expect that especially couples are traveling back to the destination. So that's why we, as a marketing groups, we designed the best agers, things, and repeaters as our prime targets for this year. We go to the next slide. Here we go. Here are the conclusions, the target groups. As we told you in the beginning, the untouched industries out of Switzerland are pharmaceutical and chemical, finance and insurance, and government employees. So these groups we try to target as well in our marketing activities. And one very positive effect of the corona is that many people will go back as well to travel agencies for bookings, because due to the fact that everything can change with the coronavirus, it is more certain to book via a travel agency, because they can take care of the cancellation policies and on the refunds for the money. So we think that there will be a wave of bookings within the travel agencies and not only direct like in the past. What are we doing? We have marketing activities in the B2B market. With all these activities you see here on the presentation, we want to give confidence to the travel agents. We want that they, of course, recommend Thailand as a travel destination. So there will be a lot of activities in the B2B market. And as you saw before, as we as well expect that the people are going back to the travel agencies, we want to be more visible with the travel agencies this year in order to support them, that they have statements for questions which are coming from the final consumers. So this is why we focus a lot of our activities as well to the B2B market. Then we go to the B2C activities out of the Swiss market. Here you have our activities, what we are doing in the B2C market. We have, of course, still some special interest groups where we cater for, but here as well, we want to have a huge visibility, a high visibility in order to give the final consumers the information. Thailand is back. You can travel to Thailand as a travel destination, and we want to be present with the final consumer as well. So thank you very much for your attention, and I hand over to the MC.
Thank you very much, Ngere, for your great presentation. So before we are going to the Q&A section, may I remind you all once again that if you have a question you would like to ask about this topic, please go to the Q&A section, which is located on the left of the screen. May I remind you that we cannot see what is going on at the chat box, so make sure that you leave your question at the Q&A section. So what I can conclude from the talk show operator answer is the Swiss tourist still has confidence on Thailand. They are more than ready, and they are now waiting to return to Thailand as a top of European loyalty tourist as before. So as soon as Thailand is ready to open as normal for the long-haul international tourists, then Thailand will have chance to welcome the Swiss tourists back for sure, especially the business destination. And luckily, their government is not too strict to allow their people to go out of the country, but with some safety and healthy instruction as the major practice like other countries. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to almost at the end of today's session, but we cannot complete it without the Q&A section. So let's go to the question number 1. So the question number 1, what is the most major concern after COVID-19 between brand or individual, city convenient or remote destination, with space and why?
In our market, it will be we go for sure to the remote destination where it is more calm, more space. This is something the people are looking at the moment. But we have seen after the first opening opening weekends that people gather like in the past. So it is very unpredictable to say, but we think that it is that the people will still go for shopping in Bangkok, that they will go to the cities like in the past and not only to the beach. The beach will be a preference, but this is as well our market. We are many of the Swiss go to the beach destinations. This is the reason why the Swiss are coming to Thailand. It is included in most of the trips to Thailand. But of course, they, as you know, the Swiss, they are very good spenders. They like to shop. So they will, for sure, if they are in Thailand, have some shopping. They are going to the city destinations as well. And they are very cultural interested, but they probably go to areas in Thailand which they have not visited before. Many of the Swiss are repeaters. We have about 70 to 75% out of the Swiss market are repeaters. So they have been to the prime destinations in the past. And if they are coming back to Thailand, they probably go to destinations which are not so well known and which are not so visited very often. So they go basically to, I would say, to all the destinations like in the past.
So new normal for tourist behavior cannot exactly predict that. So let's see what will be after COVID-19. So let's go to the next question. So the booking for autumn are mainly for which destination in Thailand? So this question from the question number 2 that you have been asked for the top 4 tour operators.
Right. So the bookings for autumn are beach destination for sure. People go to all the beach destinations in Thailand. It is as well for us a very important period. It is our main holiday season, autumn. It changed from summer to autumn. So it will be basically for most of the destinations on the shore. It will be still a respectable or a good autumn.
Okay, thank you. And next question, please. What will be the expect number of outbound travelers to from Swiss for 2020 and 2021?
It's a good question. Normally, we have about 180,000 Swiss coming to Thailand every year. Now we lost quite good months. I mean, March, April normally are very good travel months. We had as well the Easter period, which is very popular in our destination for holidays in Thailand. So it is quite difficult to say, but we expect that it will be above 100,000 for sure. If the market opens up again very fast, our most important travel periods are coming now. So it's August, it's September, it's November, December. So these are the months where we have a lot of travelers coming to Thailand. So we think that it will be above 100,000, but it depends when finally we can travel to Thailand. Then I think the recovery will come soon.
Yes, likewise, you have mentioned from the top tour operator answer that they hope that in 2021, Thailand will be 100% ready to welcome the Swiss tourists as before. So please go to the next question. Is there a chance to promote combination of main beach tourist destination like Phuket, Krabi, Samui with the nearby cultural destination?
Yes, sure. I mean, this is a part of the experience, what a Swiss would like to see. He comes for the beach, but of course, he wants to have the Thai lifestyle. He wants to enjoy the Thai food, and he wants to speak with the Thai people, to learn from their experience. And of course, it is a possibility to combine these destinations. What many Swiss are doing, by the way. So the Swiss is not a single destination traveler. He very often combines 2 or 3 destinations in one trip to Thailand. As they are repeaters, they have been to several places in the past, and they are quite used to travel around in the country, and they know that it is easy to travel around within Thailand. And so we have a lot of Swiss customers who have more than one destination already when they start out of Zurich going to Thailand. So they knew that they visit more than one destination. They don't stay in one place.
I totally agree with you. So please go to the next question. When is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Switzerland planning to remove the travel warning?
This is as it's quite an interesting question because Switzerland is not part of the European Union, but we have the Schengen Agreement. That means that the Swiss Ministry of Foreign Affairs cannot take this decision alone. They depend as well on all the other European countries. If they decide, okay, travel is again free to Thailand, then Switzerland can open as well. As Switzerland is part of the Schengen agreement, this decision must be taken by all the European countries, and they have regular phone calls among each others. And that's why they as well decided to open up Europe on the 6th of July. They agreed on this in a common meeting. And we think that it will be the same for the long-haul destinations. Certain long-haul destinations will be closed much longer than Asia. But we have heard in the market, there were questions from the Swiss press in this respect. And there, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that for certain areas, the destination will be closed longer, but Asia might be one of the first long-haul destinations which can be open.
Thank you very much, Gary. So about the travel warning, so we have to be wait for the European system to be cover the area and remove from Thailand from the travel warning. And please go
Right.
to the next question. This question, do you expect that elder generation tourists will refrain from traveling to long-haul destinations for a while, more concerned about their health?
I think that it's a very good question. The funny thing is, in our market, when we started with the lockdown, you really had to educate the elderly people that they stay at home. It was very difficult because they were the ones which went for shopping outside and which you saw in all the streets. They were not at all afraid of COVID-19. So we think that it will not have, for Thailand, not have a bad effect because as we have so many repeaters and many have been in Thailand in the past, they know a lot about Thailand and the behavior. And so we think that they will not be afraid to travel to Thailand, not at all. So for Thailand, it will be different than for other destinations. But as the repeaters, they understand the Thai way of greeting, not touching each other with the difference. And you have a lot of safety instructions in your culture already. So this will give a lot of confidence even to the people who say, okay, Thailand will be safe, we can go to Thailand. So I expect that the elderly people will still travel.
Yeah, like what I have mentioned in the conclusion, that the government is not too strict to allow their people to go out of the country, but it depends on their consideration. They can go, but with some safety and healthy instruction as the major practice. So let's go to the next question, please. To combine Nakhon Si Thammarat, Pathalung with Samui or Krabi is quite success in some European markets. How about the Swiss?
Yes, we started with this in the last 2 or 3 years, and it's picking up quite nicely. So we are happy to see in the brochures of the tour operators that Nakhon Si Thammarat, Patalung, and the Samui or Krabi combination is working very well. That we have now the first offers in the brochures of the tour operators. And this is quite important because even though some of the Swiss guests might book direct, they often take the brochures of the tour operators as a source of inspiration. So they look up what do they offer, what they have new in the program, and this gives them some ideas where to go. So I think that the chances are there. We have the first offers in the catalogs of the tour operators, which is a big success because it's a all these areas are very beautiful and neat to have as well tourists. And I think it's great that the Swiss tour operators have taken up these fantastic areas of Thailand.
Yes, this is help Thailand to promote um, the, the destination that can combine with the main destination, and it will be in the catalog for next year, isn't it?
Yeah, yes,
Okay, so
definitely.
let's go to the next question. Is there any possibility for medical tourism for Swiss tourists?
A good question as well. We have understood that Thailand has fantastic hospitals, and this is the same than Switzerland. We have a very high level, of course, in our hospitals. I would say we try to promote this for a very long time already. We see some activities of the private industry in our market, which is successful. So it might be that this customers or this area of the tourism is growing, but the growth will be definitely smaller than one would expect. I think that other markets would be much better to invest for investments for medical tourism than Switzerland, because Switzerland have a very good system, which is not everywhere in the world the case. So it is difficult, but it's appealing. More and more Swiss are doing treatments in Thailand, but I would say probably the money is better invested in other destinations than in Switzerland in order to have a better return on investment.
Thank you very much for your question, for your answer. And from this question, I would like to add some information that TAT recently has joined with the Ministry of Public Health to launch the Amazing Thailand Safety and Health Administration. And this will probably be one of Thailand Tourism International standard to reassure our guests or our tourists who will return to Thailand that they will have very good safety and healthy travel experiences in Thailand. So let's go to the next question. Which city in Switzerland are most Swiss travelers from?
Well, it's a good question. We have, as you know, Switzerland, we have three different language areas in Switzerland. So we have the German speaking part, the French speaking part, and the Italian speaking part. Um, so the Swiss are traveling from all destinations, in fact, to Thailand. The Swiss customer is a very loyal customer to Thailand. We had always had a lot of news about Thailand in our market. So, of course, Thailand is very well known. It is by far the number one destination in Asia. No other Asian destination has even 50% of the arrival figures of Thailand. So the Swiss are very, very reliable to Thailand, and they will as well travel in the future. And it's not a city which is a Thailand hub, maybe to say. So they are coming from all over the country to Thailand.
Thank you very much for your answer. I think we are now complete all the questions, and thank you very much once again for your clear answer for all those questions. And
Thank you so
now,
much.
and now it's time for me and Kunkere to say goodbye. We truly hope that our today topic of the recovery plan out of Swiss market, B2B and B2C, will be useful for you. Before you leave us, please let us know what you think about TAT webinar and this section by submit your comments at the questionnaire section, which located near the Q&A section on the left of the screen. By sharing your comment is very important to TAT to improve and develop our project in the near future. Last but not least, if you are interested in any topics of TAT webinar or you would like to watch it again, please visit our website www.tourismthailand.org/TAT webinar, and there's still some interesting topic waiting for you to register. On behalf of Tourism Authority of Thailand and the entire team of TAT webinar, we would like to thanks for your time joining us today, and we are looking forward to seeing you again here. ขอบคุณและสวัสดีค่ะ
ขอบคุณมากครับ สวัสดีครับ